It's time now for a look at the day's top business news with Brian Quinn, who joins me here in the studio. Brian, we're starting here in France, where this new lockdown is already threatening to weigh heavily on businesses, of course, here in the Paris region, but of course elsewhere across the country.
Indeed, it is a tough blow for many French companies. The new restrictions mean that some 59,000 businesses will be required to close their doors in the greater Paris region. You can add that to the nearly 70,000 here that are already shut down due to health concerns, those like restaurants and gyms. Nationwide, some 110,000 additional businesses will be forced to shut their doors for the next 4 weeks. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire says he expects the move to cost 0.2% of the country's total economic output for the year. As it has been throughout the crisis, the government is taking action to prop up businesses in a bid to prevent bankruptcies. France was already spending some 6 billion euros per month on aid programs. That's now being bumped up to 7.2 billion monthly. 600 million of that going to solidarity funds for closed businesses, 400 million for paid furlough programs, and 200 million euros in waived social charges.
Next, as US and Chinese officials hold rather frosty and blunt talks in Alaska, one of the main issues, Brian, that they're discussing is, of course, trade.
That's true. And like we've seen on the diplomatic front, the two countries are unlikely to find much common ground. So far, the trade war against China launched by Donald Trump remains very much in effect. His successor, Joe Biden, keeping Trump's tariffs in place as leverage while the U.S. pursues its agenda. James Vazina has the details.
Trump may have left the White House, but the trade war between the United States and China is still alive. Tariffs and sanctions, from tech to clothes, all levied by Donald Trump and firmly in place. China is urging Joe Biden to take reverse action and lift the orders.
We urge the US side to abide by the principles of market economy and provide a fair, just and non-discriminatory environment for Chinese enterprises to invest and operate in the United States.
With the exception of medical equipment, the Biden administration has yet to roll back any of the set tariffs. And Beijing doesn't appear to have increased its purchasing of US goods by as much as promised in the Phase 1 deal reached in January last year.
A big part of the strategy is approaching our relationship with China from a place of strength and strengthening our own economy at home, investing in the middle class, looking at it through the prism of competition, not conflict. And that means there's also more work we have to do here.
For now, both sides are downplaying the chances of any significant steps towards resolving the conflict. Relations between the US and China remain at their lowest point in decades.
That was James Vazina reporting there. Now, Brian, let's move on now to look at what's happening on the markets today.
Asian index is losing some ground on Friday, that following a big losing session on Wall Street Thursday. Rising bond yields continuing to weigh on equities as investors worry about looming inflation. The Nikkei in Tokyo closed down around 1.4% after the Bank of Japan announced a decision to ease its purchasing of exchange-traded funds. Chinese indexes down significantly as well. Kospi in Seoul down around 0.2% amid a sell-off in major tech shares there.
Next, airlines are increasingly exploring the potential for digital health certificates as they try to revive their battered industry, Brian.
That's right. Air France is the latest firm to test its own proprietary digital app in a bid to boost confidence and ease passengers' navigation of health requirements. Air France's QR-based app stores information like PCR test results. The airline has partnered with 2 medical lab networks with locations throughout France. Well, their trial comes as the EU is debating the rollout of a possible Europe-wide travel pass in a bid to facilitate travel and save the busy summer tourism season. One concern, though, has been data privacy. Air France says it takes that very seriously. Take a listen.
Protecting our customers' data is non-negotiable, and it is without a doubt the focus of this project. And the solution we are proposing today to our customers is 100% compliant with data regulations. The airline does not store any of the data from these digital certificates.
And finally, for this business summary, a career in finance may be lucrative, but Brian, it comes with its costs.
Thomas, Wall Streeters often accused of being overpaid. Rarely are they accused of being underworked. A group of first-year analysts at investment banking giant Goldman Sachs is decrying what they call inhumane and abusive conditions, saying that their average work week is 95 hours long. That's more than twice the normal U.S. 40-hour work week, and that they're lucky to sleep 5 hours a night. We know a bit about that. The complaint, a result of a social media survey. The employees are warning of impending burnout. They are recommending only 80-hour work weeks. And in fact, Thomas, you think of these Wall Street workers as high-flying salaries. A junior analyst at Goldman Sachs only make about $70,000 a year to start out, but they do have a potential for a lot of growth after that.
Okay, Brian Quinn with the latest business news. Thank you very much.